Happy travels! Today I'll be attempting to hike to a steam vent at the top of a volcano. This is between Myoko Kogen and Akakura Mountains. I'm not sure if I can actually make it to the steam vent or whether there are restrictions, but there's nothing online or there's no information that I can find to say that I cannot go there. This is the only way that I can find out, so I'll be setting off for about a 3-hour trip to the steam vent, hoping to be able to see this. I think today's hike will take around 5 hours or less, but let's see. If it's a short hike and it only takes me 2-3 hours, I'll probably push forward and go all the way to the top of Myoko Kogen Mountain, Myokosan. We have some great weather today, and this hike will start at Akakura Kanko Hotel. This is a beautiful hotel. If you haven't been here before, highly recommend it. They have a great onsen that overlooks all of this. As you can see, this is of course a ski field during the winter. Before I set out, let's go through my packing. This is everything I'm carrying for this short day hike. We have this food supply, which is just 2 of these onigiri, a protein bar, a banana, and I've already had a pretty good breakfast of cereal, muesli, and a banana. Next up I have my sun protection, which are these sleeves. They'll go on my arms, which are not covered right now. That gives me more airflow under my arms. An extra hat in case I'm burning on my neck, sunscreen, and then the bear bell for protection for the bear, as well as this knife. That's actually for protection for a bear. Maybe, that's as good as I get right now. And then my documenting stuff. I'm gonna try and put up my drone today. I've got a DJI Mavic Mini and an Insta360 with the pole that comes with that, the selfie stick, another selfie stick for my phone, and recently I bought this microphone here for times like this. For my backpack, I'm using the 18-liter Miljuk by Gregory. This is a great backpack. I like this one because it's really aerated at the back and it's lightweight and it wraps around with this belt because I do like to do trail running. And my water is inside here. One's made by Montbell. It's a 1.5 liter, and I've filled this up to 1.25 liters because I know my body and that's how much I'll need. After you've been hiking quite a while, you start to know what resources you'll need for food and water supplies for your body, and that will change for the day. Today is a summer day. I know that I'll need less than 1.25. I'll need about 1 to 2 liters of water. But on this trail, there is fresh water all along the way. Lots of different springs here, so I have no problem in finding water. So I'm taking that 1.25 as a minimum. I know that I can do that. The other one is this mini towel, and you get these from the onsens, or you can buy these other places, but I like to collect them from different hot springs. And these are great to absorb sweat. You can put this in cold running water in the rivers and the streams and put that around your neck as you hike, and that feels great. That's a real Japanese thing to do. It's a pretty hot day today, so I've switched to the hat straight away. Plus, I've got these sleeves that I showed you before, and this is what they look like. These ones are by Outdoor Research, and these are really great. The color reflects the sunlight, so it's not as hot. It's not exactly white because I don't want it to get dirty really quickly. It's kind of an off, kind of grayish color. And what I love about them the most, they have these air gaps here instead of with a long sleeve shirt. So I've got that great air flow under my arm here. The other thing is that the hands can actually come off, so you can have just your hands free, but they do work with things like touchscreen too. Yeah, very convenient, and I recommend these. They're popular in Asia, not so popular in Western countries. And this is what it's like with the free hand, and I could just tuck this glove inside the sleeve. You can buy these anywhere in Japan. These ones are a bit more expensive because they're made by Outdoor Research, but you can get these for like $10 in any sports store in Japan. Now is the time to see the hydrangeas. Okay, and the trail will start here from the hotel. What an awesome place to have a game of tennis. This is the first shrine that we'll see on this trip, but there should be more. For the first part of the trail, there are a lot of switchbacks And those familiar with Akakura Kanko will know that this is an awesome ski run right here. A lot of powder here on the right days. This is steep through here, and you'll find a lot of the hiking in Japan is steep. If you think about the mountains in Japan, they are volcanic. They've been formed like volcanoes, like Mount Fuji is kind of this shape. And a lot of the mountains in Japan are like this. A lot of the hikes that you do in Japan will be kind of straight up and then straight back down again. Of course, you traverse across the top. And of course, there are other hikes available that are around lakes and whatnot. But if you're going into the mountains, a lot of them are steep. A lot of them have kind of landslide activities. When they have these heavy rains in Japan, that's a huge problem. And it's one of these big natural disasters across Japan that you would have seen on the news at some point. So this right here behind me is the start of the hike if you took the Sky Cable. The Sky Cable isn't available yet, and even when it does operate, it's usually not every day, so you have to check that. Definitely on the weekends it'll be open. I'm actually okay with doing this I think it took 40 minutes to get here. But what I like is I know that not everyone's going to put in that effort to come up here on days like this. So I'll probably have this whole place to myself, which makes sense why I'm wearing a bear belt. So this is where you can get this cable car to, the Sky Cable. And this isn't open yet, they're still preparing it, but you can come and sit here. This is here to stop people going in. They'll fill this up with fresh water, and you sit here and bathe your feet and enjoy the views. Over there is Tangaram and Madarao. And if you look even further across, which you cannot see today, but that will be Shiga Kogen and all of that area. Nozawa Onsen's up that direction. Now the fun begins as I hike this steep section that has no path. That's the direction. The humidity here is insane. It's so hot. I'm bright red. I can see that on the screen here. It is hot. It's wet. We had a little bit of rain yesterday, and it's just made it more steamy. It's slightly cooler here than down the bottom, and the bottom temperature is around so the bottom elevation where you start, where my house is, about 800 meters. The height where I'm at now is probably close to around 1400 meters. There's a slight difference, but it's hot. It's not hot, it's humid. And there's mosquitoes flying around me. Good thing they don't really care about me. I have a natural repellent. There was a time I went to the Amazon. I was in the Amazon through the Colombia side. I was in Bolivia, going up to Colombia. And when I looked back behind me, walking through the jungle, the Amazon rainforest, I looked back and there was a cloud of mosquitoes back there. They just followed me, but when I stopped, they didn't really land on me. And in the 2 weeks I was in the Amazon, I didn't get bitten once. Let's just say I got bitten once. I don't remember it, but let's just say I got bitten once. Okay, now I got to turn the camera around. This is pretty. Deep in the greenery. These clouds just make it even more special. Got this like majestic feel to it as I walk through the Japanese mountains, feeling like I'm walking through the Japanese mountains. Isn't it pretty? Pretty. Just hit this road. This is a private road. You're not able to drive here. Otherwise I would. About 400 meters left from this point. Should take about 10 minutes. This is my first sighting of the mountain hut. This mountain hut is 1,780 meters altitude. Perfect to escape the heat in summer. Beautiful hut in the middle of nature. These dragonflies are going crazy this time of year. Peak dragonfly time. You can be safe from mosquitoes. Let's go take a look inside. You have futons here you can use. There's space to sleep in. Let's take our shoes off here. We go up. There's an upstairs here. There's even heating. That's gas. More futons. Place to sleep. Wow, double glazing. You have your own view. These are all set and ready to go. So it looks like you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in this space in a futon. You even got the place to dry your clothes. I can even see some cooking equipment here. Hand sanitizer. That's the first glimpses of what I'm trying to find. Look at the steam. This place is hot. I can hear the water bubbling away. And it stinks here. How cool is this? This is the source of hot spring water in Myoko Kogen, Akakura. Right up the top there. Now, can I get up there? Let's find out. Oh yeah, we're so close now. It's a little bit higher over the top, but this is the water from the mountain coming down here. All of the efforts made to tap into this to supply the town with hot spring water, straight from the top of a volcano. I'm at the final stretch, and it looks like the corner I'm approaching now is going to be the deciding area. I'll see from here whether I can get through to the steam vent or not. A little bit further. These are the views for now. Oh, we're getting so close. We're almost there. It's right there. That's the vent right there. Made it this far. Wow. This is the steam vent I've been wondering about. This is incredible. Made it to the top. That was really special. I feel so privileged and accomplished to finally get up here and see this spectacular place. Now, when I'm driving around town, even when I'm in, like, you can see this place from so far away. Even in, like, if you're in Shiga Kogen, for example, you can see this beautiful mountain, Mount Myoko and Akakura. And I've been here, I've been to the steam vent that I've always wondered about. Very special. While I'm walking through the mountain here, I thought it might be a good time to talk about some of the stuff that you should be prepared for, and that includes the animals that you may or may not encounter. And I'm speaking specifically about the dangerous ones. One of the first ones that comes to mind for everyone, I think, for Japan and hiking, or maybe it doesn't, are the bears. the Asiatic bears, the black bears here, and they've got some white on their chest. They have been found to be pretty dangerous in the last few years, with the bears coming down to the towns. They're getting basically a lot more confidence in coming down to these small towns and villages, mostly because of two reasons. One is with the seasons, the recent seasons being, okay, there's actually three reasons. So the seasons are a little bit different. It's been warmer. So the bears have been coming around more frequently, meaning they're awake longer. So they wake up earlier and they're going to sleep later. They're hibernating later. With that change in season and the warm temperature, so like connected to that is the harvest available for the foods that they're eating. And they're eating a type of berry which is not available as much as it once was. One reason is because of deforestation, and the other is because of that change of season. There's just not as much food sources available for them to eat, so they're coming down to the towns, and that's where most of the attacks are happening. Not necessarily out while you're walking, but down closer to the towns and villages. And they're going down there because they know that's where they can get food. One of the changes there, and another reason that links into this as well, this is the third reason out of the three I've mentioned, is that these towns are not becoming more populated. The population is decreasing in these towns, so these bears are getting more confidence in coming down to these places where they don't have to worry so much. They don't need to worry that someone's going to be there, because they're kind of bigger and stronger, and they're just not seeing that action in, let's just say, the rice fields as much as it once was. It's just now the older people that are working there, and they don't have to have that fear so much. I'm not saying that they don't have that fear of old people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's not as many people there. There's less frequency of seeing human activity, and that gives these bears more time to consider as they're going down to these places whether to take that risk to go and try and get some of that human food that's available. So that's for bears. The other dangerous animals that you would see, so that's bears. And besides bears, you may encounter a snake. It doesn't happen. Besides bears, you may encounter a snake, if you're lucky. I mean, I like to see this stuff. There are two most common snakes that you'll see or be able to recognize if you do some research and see what they look like. The first one is not very dangerous. It's not dangerous. It's a Japanese rat snake. It's a common rat snake. It's small, browny greeny, and it's not a large snake. It's a small snake. When they see you, they just kind of shoot off. They don't want to hang around. They're never really aggressive. They just want to just get away. So it's nice to see them. They're actually a beautiful snake. The other snake, which is dangerous, and it's one of the most, but not the most dangerous snake in Japan, is the mamushi. And the mamushi is a type of adder. And you can tell these guys are kind of small, but a bite does have venom. It's venomous, and it can kill you. Concentrate on this section here. You'll see signs around for mamushi. People do post this to say be careful of the mamushi around here. They've been spotted. Mamushi, I haven't had really big problems with mamushi, but they are aggressive. Not from the get-go, I'm not saying they're just chasing you down the street, but if you approach them and you corner them, you'll see their tail shakes like a rattlesnake, and it will coil up. I mean, that's when you know you need to leave. That coil up action is going to be that it's getting ready to project itself towards you. Maybe it's getting ready for that in case it needs to. So you don't want to poke around too much with those guys. One of the other dangers that you may encounter while hiking are their giant hornets. Those massive hornets that, yeah, they're huge. They're like the size of maybe this finger. They're big. I have encountered them, and I have had, I don't say problems, but they've been following me around before when I was in Hokkaido and I was doing a long trail up there. There's not much you can really do. There's a certain time of the year for every creature. They appear during the summer-ish time. You should check so if that area that you're thinking about hiking, if that's a common thing. So around here, I don't think I would see them. I don't think I've ever seen them around here in this particular area. But you should still do your research and check if they're around and what season you may find them in. It's interesting that one of the things that people say to do is to not wear certain colors. And I believe one of them is black. You shouldn't wear black because it attracts certain insects. The other one would be like a horsefly. There's two types. One's like a horsefly, and one's another one that's not a horsefly. It's called abu in Japanese. I don't remember what it's called in English, but it's like a big fly. And one has been circulating around me today, and they do bite. They even bite as the larvae. That's what bit me in the hot spring, outdoor hot spring. So I've been hiking before, and I've been with someone who was using red, and I was using green. And they were kind of being followed more by these big giant hornets. I wasn't being followed by them so much. I don't know if I also don't attract mosquitoes. It's very rare for me to be bitten by insects in general, although this Japanese horsefly thing does circle me sometimes, but I'm usually pretty good with insects in general. Personally, I don't like to use insect repellent, especially DEET. And actually, I do like using it because it does really work. But there was a time when I was traveling and my DEET bottle opened in a flight over a couple of hours, and this DEET bottle spilled on my water bottle. They're like the Camelback style one, like this. And when I opened up my bag, just to say 10 hours later, that bag had completely melted through. So that plastic, the DEET had melted the plastic. And before that, I was like, yeah, just use DEET, throw it on, give me the highest, give me 80% DEET. I want that jungle stuff. Even though I didn't really need like a repellent, because I just seem to naturally repel. And then after that, and seeing the effects on plastic or rubber, I decided, yeah, I'll just stick to like my natural repellent. And that works for me. Some people like to use the coils while they're hiking in Japan. They'll put them in these containers. So if you get stuck behind some of these people and they're kind of smoking behind them, that insect repellent, the coil, smoke is just like hitting you in the face, and you've just got to pass those guys. While I'm hiking, anywhere I'm hiking, I am very conscious about my surroundings, and I'm always considering the signals that I'm getting, what kind of environment that I'm in. And what's interesting was a while ago, this is going back to about 2017, I met a guy, a Japanese guy in a small town, and he said to me, "Oh, we saw a bear yesterday, be careful." I was going for a hike somewhere. So he said, "Yeah, be careful of bears. You will usually find them at 1,000 meter altitude and above in Japan, in this area." Not this area, the area I'm talking about, it's down in Mie Prefecture. And I asked him, where do they see this particular bear? And he said, "Oh, that came down to the town. This one was a bit different." So I think it doesn't really matter. It can be anywhere that you might see a bear, and or a snake or whatever it is. And then I really learned that lesson myself when I was traveling through COVID. I drove around the USA, and part of my trip for 6 months while I was just driving around and working at the same time was to search for bears for about 4 months during the peak of the bear season. And I went all over the West Coast, over to Montana, down to Wyoming, all over the place. I spotted around 20 something bears in total, less than 25. And 3 of them were grizzly bears. But I kind of had to be, I don't say I had to go looking for them, but I spent a lot of time hiking, then in some really remote places, and that's where I saw them. And every encounter that I had was, some places were expected. So people say you'll find a nice big flat place in the middle of these kind of mountains, and there'll be trees and a stream there, and that's where you're definitely going to see a bear. And I did see bears there, but I've also been in some of these beautiful national parks in the US where I've been at the top of the mountain, peak, where there's not really any trees, or there's not much up there. It's mostly rocky. But even in a place like that, I would see 2 or 3 bears. So it's not limited to these environments where you think you're going to see a snake, a bear, anything. So it's important while doing these trails to always keep that at the front of your mind, not at the back of your mind. People don't realize that Japan can be a dangerous place for animals. I mean, they've even got a red-backed spider. A lot of people just associate that to Australia, but Japan has that too. And they have killer jellyfish too. And they have other things, sharks as well. So it's the safest country with the humans most of the time, but not with the animals in nature. All right, we're back to this open space. I'm outside of the forest trail. This is where things get good because I'm going to be able to pick up my speed and strengthen up my knees and my legs and my back as I strap up and get ready to run down. Great, thanks to gravity, cover all this distance. Oh yeah. Ooh. Get ready for that ski season coming up. I've actually got some good hikes planned. Ooh. Yeah. great chairlift, by the way. We are back to the hotel. And we're gonna get back to the car. And obviously it will not finish here because, as you know, we gotta have a hot spring. So that's next on the agenda. No hike is finished without a hot spring in Japan. Back down from the hike. I'm gonna finish up here at the foot onsen. Oh yeah. Hot, soothing mineral water. And surrounded by hydrangeas. Thank you for joining me again on one of my adventures. Thank you for following and subscribing. Really appreciate your support. If you have any questions or comments you'd like to leave, drop them below and I'll get back to them. Happy travels! Happy travels!